One of the other things that people feel like makes them feel unsafe, it's not just the worry about homicide, it's also what feels like sometimes the lawless St. Louis drivers. And it took more than 2 years after a couple of fatal crashes for the city to begin constructing the safety improvements that are now underway at Ted Drew's. How do you think the city can move faster to improve pedestrian safety?
Well, with the, specifically when you mentioned Ted Drew's, we were working with the leadership there, and we were waiting for answers from them.
The owner of the custard stand.
Exactly. And then once he agreed on what he wanted to see there, then we ran into supply chain issues. We running into supply chain issues all over the country. So we have been working, feverishly with the leadership at Ted Drew's to make sure that we can address that intersection or that section of Chippewa as best we can. We are also reinstating red light cameras. We went through a review with our attorneys to make sure that people had due process as we reinstate them, and we're not targeting already vulnerable populations. So people should start to see those come back hopefully in 2025, if not 2026.
It took the city more than 2 years after 2 fatal crashes at Ted Drew's to get these improvements that are now underway to make that area safer. Could the city have done that faster? Are there things you would do to move those things along more quickly?
Absolutely. I mean, first, having a focus on pedestrian safety. We have a pedestrian fatality rate, Sarah, 3 times the national average. And, as a single mom with a son in school, I often send him to school on his bicycle, and he rides back home or he walks, and I am quite literally terrified of his bodily harm potential, not necessarily by violence, but by vehicular violence. And I do think that we need to have a stronger approach to pedestrian safety. And it looks like enforcing laws. Existing laws on the books. I mean, this morning when I was dropping my son off at school at 6:50 a.m., the 2 cars in front of us pulled up to a red light and just kept going. There was absolutely disregard for the laws on the books, and we need to come down harder on that. I have taken a couple steps, put in a couple bills that will allow us to essentially take your vehicle, impound a vehicle of somebody who's driving it like a weapon. And I think it's important to be thinking outside the box when it comes to public safety in this way.